Hello, and I'm Tina Oelke, your instructor for PSYC263. Today we're going to take a look at how we develop morally. The socio-emotional development of middle and late childhood covered in Chapter 10 is chock full of interesting things to study, isn't it? From the development of self as children start defining themselves in terms of internal characteristics or personality traits, to the development of emotions as children improve their emotional regulation and understanding, to more disturbing trends starting as gender stereotyping and bullying. It is very interesting. Parents also begin to take less of a role in middle and late childhood as the role of peers increase. But we're not going to go into depth of those subjects for our mini lesson. Instead, we'll be talking about moral development. Lawrence Kohlberg developed a theory of moral development that extended Piaget's basic theory. In his theory, he proposed three main levels that were broken down into 2 stages for a total of 6 stages. He developed these stages based off of interviews that he conducted with people using a moral dilemma. Maybe you've heard of this dilemma. It goes something like this. Heinz's wife was near death, and her only hope was a drug that had been discovered by a pharmacist who was selling it for an exorbitant price. The drug cost $20,000 to make, and the pharmacist was selling it for $200,000. Heinz could only raise $50,000, and insurance wouldn't make up the difference. He offered what he had to the pharmacist, and when his offer was refused, Heinz said he would pay the rest later. Still, the pharmacist refused. In desperation, Heinz considered stealing the drug. Would it be wrong for him to do that? Should Heinz have broken into the store to steal the drug for his wife? Kohlberg used this dilemma to be able to develop his theories of moral dilemma. In level 1, it has 2 stages and is considered an immature level. Most children before the age of 9 are on level 1. Level 1, stage 1, is the punishment and obedience stage. You see this with young children who don't talk very much, or who can talk but don't know right from wrong yet. It is difficult to reason with them. For example, you wouldn't explain to them that it isn't healthy to run around with a sharp pointy stick. You would take it away. Some people do get stuck in this stage, however. You might know some adults who work best under the threat of punishment. Where level 1, stage 1 is a stick, level 1, stage 2 is the carrot. It is the reward. This is where children realize that if they're good, they will be rewarded. Only when they do what's right do they get something. You might see adults in this stage too. They might be the ones asking, why should I do this? What's in it for me? These levels do decrease with age. In level 2, stage 3, peer pressure prevails. The age group for this stage is adolescence. The adolescent is concerned with being accepted with the social group. People do what the group accepts as acceptable behavior. The definition of right and wrong is what the group says is right and wrong. Level 2, stage 4, is based on an understanding of why law and order is important to have. Most people get to stage 4 but don't necessarily progress past stage 4. If they do get to level 3, stage 5, it would happen around generally 20 to 22. This is when they have their own principles, but they aren't completely certain about them. They understand that others have their own competing moral principles and are willing to sit down and negotiate or compromise or to talk them out. Now, stage 6 is extremely rare. It's a higher law. An example of a person achieving this level is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and where he was willing to be arrested for his beliefs on human rights. The Kohlberg stages were influenced by the individual's cognitive development, their experience with moral questions and conflicts, and also peer interactions and perspectives. As such, there have been many criticisms of Kohlberg's theory. The main trains of thought are that Kohlberg leaves out behaviors, culture, and gender. Now, Carol Gilligan is the foundation of feminist psychology. She proposes that men and women approach the question of the moral dilemma differently, and that Kohlberg's theory might have a gender bias. However, experts now believe there is no basis behind Gilligan's claim. While there might not be a foundation for gender discrimination, social conventional might be overlooked. In particular, the conventional rules that have been established by social consensus in order to control behavior and maintain the social system, or what we call social norms, might play a role in moral development. Further, there was a study on prosocial behavior that has placed more emphasis on behavioral aspects of moral dilemma. What are prosocial behaviors? Where antisocial behaviors are ones like lying and cheating, prosocial behaviors are ones like showing empathy and sharing. To some, like many subjects in psychology, there are several theories and viewpoints about moral development. Kohlberg has offered us a theory that progresses a person from the beginning of morality through a rarely reached stage. Theorists are now asking us to consider the impact of social norms and prosocial behaviors. It will be interesting for your consideration. We have now concluded the mini lesson on moral development. The reflective log asks you to suggest ideas for future research designed to advance knowledge on the concepts in this chapter, or to apply the material learned in the chapter to a current news issue or to experiences in your own life. I suggest that you not only consider the concepts that you heard on this presentation, but also what you've learned in the rest of the chapter. Some interesting things to reflect upon would be a follow-up on the idea of moral development. What do you think about the different stages? Have you seen adults stuck in the various stages? Can you identify where you are? The self is an important development in middle and late childhood. What are your thoughts on this topic? Also, parents take a lesser role as the roles of peers grow. This can be both good and bad. What are your thoughts on this? What further areas do you think should be researched? And what have you seen in the news recently that you'd like to comment on that relates to Chapter 10? There are a lot of ideas out there about Chapter 10, and I hope that you have fun exploring them. I can't wait to read your logs.